Hello guys, and welcome back to another video of sort of Age of Empires, I guess. Today we're gonna do a video that is probably long overdue. You can see up above us, it's saying the best civs in 1-1 Arabia. And don't worry, it's not me, you're not gonna be looking at my face the whole video, so don't worry about that. But yeah, a few weeks ago, Hera made a video on this lovely website called Tier Maker, where he listed all the best overall civilizations. That's very ballsy, to be fair. I think my opinion would change every day on this if I made a list like that. So I'm gonna take a more bread and butter approach, where I start off with just the bread and butter, as I said, of Age of Empires, which is 1-1 Arabia. I might do more lists of this in the future, where I maybe do like the best flank civs in Arabia, the best pocket civs, maybe the best hybrid type of maps, maybe the best water civilizations, and so on. There's a lot of potential here, right? But I just want to specify with the depth of Age of Empires and how many factors come into play for every single map. It could be 1v1, 2v2, 3v3, 4v4. It can be 35 different civilizations in each position of that map. You might spawn with a gold forward, a gold in the back, where civilizations and their strengths change depending on all these factors, which is why I never in general feel comfortable making statements as this is how it is, because it changes. You know the famous saying, it depends. And that's kind of what it does. So I'm gonna try and do this with like, I'll start off with best civs in 1-1 Arabia. I might do more like general overall civilizations going forward, or unique units, etc. But I think, to kick it off, I think this is a good idea. Let's do the bread and butter, and that is Arabia. By the way, the link to Hera's video, if you're interested in his video, he also made one for the unique units in Age of Empires. I might do that as well going forward, but that will be found in the link of the description. Also a link to his YouTube channel, so check that out, give him a sub, and give him some love. But yeah, don't worry, you're not gonna look at my face. Bam! You're gonna be looking at this screen. So, as you can see here, the best civilizations of Arabia. So, Hera went with the approach where he had the unique civilizations, like the unique units icons. I'm gonna do it like this, with the beautiful icons that I have no idea, I cannot recognize them. But luckily, we have the name underneath as well. So, what is my... I have not prepared for this. This is all gonna be winged, but since it is Arabia, I think it should be alright. I will share some thoughts on each civilization as I try to place them. And honestly, like if we have 15 civilizations spread around here, I might still move them around up and down, depending on the discussion I have with myself as this video progresses. So, let's just do it in the order it is down here, don't we? So we have Berbers, obviously, as the first civilization. This might be, like, this is the screen you're going to be looking at. It's not going to be like an edited video back and forth between the text tree, etc. So, buckle up, I guess. Or actually, no. Maybe it's more of like a podcasty feeling, I guess, for this video. But we're going to go with that. So, Berbers. S is obviously the top tier. We have A, B, C, and D. And we'll follow along those lines, obviously. Berbers. Where do Berbers fit? Berbers, they are probably more of a pocket civilization, water civilization, things like that. But they are actually not bad in 1-1 at all. The fast villagers moving helps a lot in a lot of cases. And I honestly think they are quite underrated at the moment. The unique unit as well, the Cannon Launcher, is a sick unit. But I think their biggest downfall is when they face civilization with like Siege Ram and Halberdiers. So their transitional phase to Imperial Age especially is quite awkward. So question is, where the hell do they go? I think I would have to say... Actually, I'm just gonna drop them right there, in the middle, because I feel like that's where they fit right now. You can see there is no F tier here. I am sticking with... Oops, I did not mean to do that. It's gonna be S, A, B, C, D. I think 5 tiers is enough. I don't think there is a point of having more tiers than this, especially for Arabia. So, yeah. I slapped Berbers down in the middle. I think that's where they belong for the time being. I might change my mind on that a little bit later. But yeah, Britons. Super good civilization right now. I don't think I will hesitate at all by moving them straight up to the S tier. Britons have incredible economy, they have great units, especially for 1-1 Arabia, which is what this is about. And their transitions like throughout all the ages, they just get stronger as the game goes on. Cheaper town centers, great economy, extra range on their archers, and they have a cheap, cost-effective post-imperial army. They are lacking siege ram, which might be the biggest downfall, but still, you have so many other things going for them that they have to be all the way up there. Byzantines, whew! I'm into the third civ, and I'm starting to stress out here because like there's so much to talk about and say about all these civilizations that I'm honestly not sure. Byzantines, go back down there. They're such a strong civilization in so many scenarios. There's so much potential with them with their cheaper Imperial Age upgrades. And of course they have the cheap trash units. They have Hussar, they have Halberdiers, they have Siege Ram, they have cheap skirms, they have cheaper camels, they have cheaper Halberdiers. They have Arbalest. There's so many things going for them that they are one of those civs. To put this to a competitive aspect, Byzantines is one of the civilizations I often ban just because I don't want to face them. And that's because they are such a dangerous civilization. I don't think they can compete with the best civs though, so I think for the time being I'm gonna put them on the B. Honestly, they could maybe be an A. Nah. I think B is a good position for them right now. Celts. They are also one of those civs that are... In 1-1 they can be real powerful because they have the faster moving militia, which obviously brings a lot of early game potential. They have a great economy with the woodcutters chopping faster. Great boom, obviously. They have potential. Like the main thing they miss would be transition to Imperial Age, where they don't have Bracer or Arbalest, for example. So they purely rely on their infantry, sort of, with the siege. Usually, infantry and siege is the composition to go for. So because they're lacking the range units, I do think we have to place them on the A. They're a real powerful civ for 1-1 Arabia though, don't get me wrong. They can play pretty much everything until Imperial Age, but usually you stick with infantry into range units. Maybe you can mix in some knights, your eco is going to be great anyway. So think A tier as well. I'm also like, when I'm placing this civ, I'm comparing now Britons, Byzantines, Berbers. Celts is one of the civs that could compete with Britons though, to be fair, but I still feel like Britons are slightly better against most other civs. So I think the way it looks right now looks great to me. Can I just end the video here? Probably not. Chinese, you know guys, there's no doubt. Go up there, you belong up there. Chinese might even be the best Arabia civ right now. They are so versatile. They can play archers, you can play man-at-arms, you can play scouts, you can play knights, you can play skirms. Just every single path in the tech tree is open for you. And they did get a recent change where their monastery is slightly worse with missing redemption. But I don't think that changes much for the Chinese as a civ. They're still so powerful throughout every age, even in Imperial Age. One of the biggest bonuses actually is that, of course, you start with extra villagers, so usually you can have almost like a 2-villager lead on most other civilizations. But having every single upgrade in the game be cheaper for you and increasing by percentage in every age as well, it's absolutely redonkulous. And they're just such a versatile, powerful civ that they might even be the best civ in the game right now. Vikings! Oh boy, my people, go down, no. Right up, no. I think they can... You can easily place them at A tier. Vikings have such a powerful economy. They might, honestly, you could make an argument for Vikings being S tier. For 1-1 Arabia, they have such a powerful... They're like, you can play complete meta with Vikings and there's nothing other civs can do to punish you, really. Because you have powerful drush, you have powerful man-at-arms opening with extra HP. You have great economy, free wheelbarrow, free handcart. It's just incredible how strong this civ can transition. The meta going straight into crossbow into early imp arbalest is just so powerful and hard to stop from the Vikings, and there's no question in my mind that they belong in the A tier. Bulgarians. This is a tricky one. Bulgarians is one of the civs that actually don't get crossbowmen even in the game. They do, however, have a lot of things going for them. With Cray Post, obviously you can spread way more mini castles around the map. You have the free man-at-arms upgrade. You can make town centers costing only 50 stone. I'm feeling right now, like they belong in B or C tier. I think I'm gonna have to place them in the C tier. Maybe B tier? Oh man. Bulgarians, I feel like it's one of those civs I'm gonna be looking at later, before I close down this. Okay, stop talking. Bulgarians will be one of the civs I'm looking at later and might reposition them, but I feel like for now I'm gonna put them in the B tier. They still have powerful cavalry, they have the Conic, which is a great unit in the Imperial Age. Of course, quite expensive though. But getting free men-at-arms, for example, kicks you off to a decent start. And you can even like just open men-at-arms, wall, and then 5 TC boom even without even taking a single stone. But for 1v1 Arabia, missing crossbow is quite huge. But there's still a lot of potential with Bulgarians. I think I'm going to leave them on the B tier for now. Burmese! This is a civ that used to be ridiculous. Entirely because of their... So I'm going to place them there for now. They're going to go probably up to B tier. But just to talk about Burmese for a bit here. They had a Rambai, which was a Redunculus unit. Had been nerfed heavily since they appeared on the scene. A Rambai Manual Monk, cheaper Monk tech. Like their men-arms opening with extra attack. Just gave you such a smooth transition into a Rambai Manual Monk. You could even go scouts into a Rambai. It was just such a dominant civ. You get wood upgrades for free. Luckily, they have been addressed quite a bit since then. You'd only get +1 armor upgrade for your range units, so that makes Burmese suffer a lot when it comes to crossbow skirm play. But there's still so much potential with the Rambai Snowball. But I still feel like, regardless, you're not gonna compete with civs like that have good range units in general and transitions like that. But this is one of the civs that can absolutely crush every other single civ in the game if you get to the right composition without taking damage, without falling behind significantly. But still, it doesn't change the fact that every transition to Imperial Age will be potentially awkward against most other civs. But I'm feeling like placing them on B tier right for now, simply because they have a real powerful opening with men-at-arms with extra damage. They have free wood upgrade for free. So there's a lot of potential there, but I feel like this could also be one of the civs that I might throw down to C tier. Humans. Now that's a civilization that was in need of some nerfing after they emerged on the scene. They're still an awkward civ to play, I would say. They have like a range unit as their unique unit, yet they don't get Bracer, which is very strange. But Kipchak has been viable again recently. Again, this video is made 20th of April. I don't know exactly the name of the patch that is active right now. I gotta say again, 20th of April 2020, in the middle of Corona crisis. So balance obviously is based on that. My thoughts are based on the balance right now, and there's a big chance that a list will be different in 1 year. But yeah, here we are. Cumans. You can rush to Feudal Age, you can get a second town center up, and you can snowball that heavily. I still think the potential of that is not fully revealed for Cumans yet. But for 1v1 Arabia, they're still a little bit struggling, especially with transition to Imp. They are a great civ to play in Feudal Age. You can have a super snowball, powerful snowball going into Castle Age as well. But the transition to Imp is where they're awkward, and that's where they're gonna fall flat compared to most other civs. I feel like they should be put in B tier for now. Am I even gonna have C or D tier? I don't even know, but we'll see. But yeah, Cumans could, I think, if their potential gets fully revealed, there could be a chance that they go up there. But for now, I think they belong in the B tier. Ethiopians. Whew. This is a civ that is sort of a one-trick pony, honestly. They have obviously fast-defying archers, which makes they get 100 food and gold every time they advance. This gives them such a powerful crossbow play. Rush fast castle, play into archers. You have so many options in terms of how you want to approach it, but usually it ends up the same. You end up with making crossbows or arbalest. And it's kind of an easy thing to counter in most scenarios, yet Ethiopians have so much potential with that in mind. Early Imperial Ages as well, where they can actually make bomber cannons, arbalest compositions work, they get free pikemen, and the transition to halberdier is also good. Like, they have a really good late game composition for 1v1, which is halberdier, arbalest, bomber cannon. So you could probably make an argument for them being A tier. Getting those extra resources in the early ages helps a lot for their opening in Feudal Age too. But at the same time, their cavalry is lacking. And because they are such a one-trick pony, maybe they belong on B tier? I'm starting to argue with myself now. I feel like I could put them there, but at the same time, I feel like their economy, sure, they do get the bonus of 100 food and 100 gold per advance, But they still feel like their economy is lacking a little bit, so I think B tier it is. Franks! This is a civ that was clearly S tier before DE was released. Now, DE hasn't changed anything about the civ, but the melee pathing, unfortunately, is not as it was, which makes Franks maybe not as good as they used to be. They still have a great economy, great scout opening, transition to knights, and in post-imperial you have great composition with halberdier, throwing axemen, potentially handcannons in there. Of course, a lovely paladin if you want to do that. But I feel like they cannot really compete with the top tier civs. If this was 1 year ago, Vubli Volo Kingdoms, easy S tier. But until melee pathing is what it once was, I think I'm gonna have to put Franks in the A tier, simply because their knights aren't as efficient as they used to be. They're still such a powerful civ though, and I think you could easily make an argument for S tier for Franks as well. Goth! No, okay. Well, actually, maybe yes. I think we have our first D tier, boys. Goth, even before... Okay, so let's think about Goth. They've been probably one of the worst Arabia civs for a long time now. And that's probably not changed. They have been looking at ways to address the Goth, and we all know about the Future of Goth series going on, where Goth militia in Dark Age, the Dark Age rush that lasts for 20 minutes, was quite ridiculous. Again, some people have been saying that I have been calling it overpowered. I have never ever said that Goth is an overpowered civ because of that. The only thing that was is that the whole approach of the 50 militia in Dark Age was kind of cancer to play against, and it was just terrible for the game in my opinion, and fun to play, terrible to play against. Maybe before they nerfed that a little bit, they could be... Nah, they're D tier. Goth is D tier. If Goth gets to Castlage, late game Castlage, 3 TC, 4 TC boom, with great economy and starts that Huskall infantry spam, there is potential for Goth, especially against a civ like Saracens, for example, Huns. But still, there's just so many issues for Goths all the way up to they get to a point where they are really viable. That I think they belong in the D tier. I'm sorry to say, but that's how it is. Huns. Now Huns, Oslo, a few years ago, easily S tier. But I'm actually going to have a real hard decision here for myself now. Whether Huns belong in A or S tier. I feel like I'm going to have to put them in A tier. Again, Huns is probably the most versatile civ to play and like dynamic civ to play in Arabia for the longest time now. You can go Drush, you can go men-at-arms, you can go archers, skirms, spearmen, scouts, knights, cav archers. There's just like the whole tech tree is available to you. And in post-Imperial Age as well, you have now great Tarkans with 8 pierce armor, you have siege ram, you have halbs, hussar, elite skirm, you have pretty much the dream of only one. You're missing the last armor upgrade for infantry. And are you missing the last armor upgrade for? Yeah, armor upgrade for the archers as well. But still, Huns is such a versatile, fun civ to play, dynamic through every single age. And I'm arguing with myself not to put them S tier, but I still feel like there are civs that simply are better than Huns right now. And but I have to say, if there was a middle ground here where I could put them in like S- or A+, Huns would be there. There's just so much potential with them. Again, such a fluid gameplay without having to make houses that Huns, there's just so much potential there. I don't even know how else to describe it then. Just so much potential. With if you play the civ perfectly, I think Huns is probably S tier. So maybe I should put them in S tier. Sorry. I'm still gonna keep them in A tier. I think they could also make an argument for S tier for Huns though. Incas, terrible civ to play against. They are in many ways a mediocre civ, but then they have these tricks, if you might call it that, where obviously your melee armor and attack upgrades impact your villagers. On top of that, your stone buildings that cost stone rather, are cheaper on the stone part. So the Inca villager rush with towers, there's so much potential there and so scary to play against. But the worst part is, Incas could just play a completely straight up game with maybe a drush, men-at-arms, into archer skirm and whatnot, eagles. And you're always going to be... You open the game and you see Incas, you think, oh shit, I'm going to get village rushed. But Incas have a completely... They have a completely good tech tree as well to play completely standard. So again, there is a lot of potential with Incas. But I think the villager rush in alone doesn't justify placing them higher than B tier. Maybe even C tier, because they do lack the infantry. They don't have the same economy as an Aztecs or Mayans, for example, do. So you could maybe even make an argument for C tier. But then again, I look at the other civs I have in B tier, and I think Incas belong with them as well. But yeah, I'm sorry if I'm talking too much regarding each civilization. There's a chance this video becomes way longer than it should be. So I apologize for that, but it's hard for me. The reason I don't make lists like this and use lists like this a lot or talk much like this about tiers and such is because I never ever get satisfied with myself when I have to decide where civs go and such. But here we are, I've committed to this, so we're going to carry on. Indians is the next civ on our list. Indians used to be maybe even the best 1-1 civ for a while there early on, but I think they have been figured out since then. Obviously they lost Arbalest, for example, which was a huge nerf to them. But of course they still have the cheaper villagers, great economy, somewhat of a versatile tech tree. Obviously you don't get the Nightline, but you have really powerful camels. They are very good counter civ to certain civs. Civs like Mongols or Huns, for example, struggle a lot against Indians. But Indians struggle with the same as Burmese, in my opinion, and Berbers. Not Burmese, sorry, Berbers. If you run into Siege Ram and Halberdiers, you don't have a lot of answers to that. Maybe Hand Cannoneers with extra range, but even they don't counter Siege Ram very much. So I think I'm going to have to throw Indians into B tier, simply because they're not really up there to compete with the top civs, right? But there's still so many good things going for Indians that they don't belong any further down on the list. Like if you gave me the options Huns against Indians, you might make a case that I would choose Indians. But at the same time, if you put Huns against Incas, for example, I'd rather have Huns over Indians. So there's like, Indians might be a counter civ to certain civs, but at the same time, those certain civs are probably better against other civs compared to Indians. Italians. This is a civ that is a little bit in the middle of nowhere right now. They have a unique unit that feels kind of useless. The Genoese crossbow is great once you have 40 of them and you're fighting Paladin. But until then, they don't really contribute, in my opinion. But if you think about the civ, they're obviously probably the best border civ. But on land, even though they have a versatile tech tree, you can go, you have Bloodlines, you have full upgrades for Hussar, etc. You can play Arbalest with extra armor. They're actually a decent land civ, but I don't think the economy bonus of having cheaper age advances does enough for them. They don't have Halberdier as well, and like their only answer to cavalry is sort of poor pikemen or Genoese crossbows, and Genoese crossbows feels very underwhelming. This is also one of the civs I might look at the end of the tier list and maybe drop them down to C tier. I'm gonna have to give that a thought, but for now, because they still are fairly versatile and they still have some things going their way, I think they belong in B tier for now. Japanese. This is a civ I've found to be very underrated very, very often. They're cheaper mining camps, lumber camps, and mills. Give them a fluid opening with decent starts. They're strong and powerful men-at-arms openings. Really hard to deal with as well. They transition very easily into range units. They can play also the powerful late-game composition of Halberdiers, Arbalest. The main thing missing for Japanese, I would say, is they don't have Siege Ram, but they do have really good trebuchets in return. They have the Asama Towers. There is a lot of potential for Japanese. I am even inclined to put them into A tier. A lot of people might probably think they should belong in B tier, but honestly, I think Japanese is one of the underrated civs when it comes to 1-1 Arabia. And in my opinion, they belong in the A tier. Recently, they also got Bloodlines for the civilization, so even a Scout's opening is viable. You could play, like the Light Cav is going to be better as a raiding unit as you advance to the next ages. And yeah, like I said, I thought they were underrated before, and I think they're underrated today. And I think they belong in the A tier. Oh, Khmer, my boys. Khmer, it's such a difficult civ to place as well. This is one of the civs you could make an argument for S tier as well, but I honestly feel like... So, what issue I have right now in my own brain is, if I think Britons against Khmer, I think this is like a 50-50 matchup. If I think Chinese against Khmer, I think Chinese wins. If I think Vikings against Khmer, I probably favor Vikings. So it's like... Khmer could easily be S tier, but at the same time, there are some civs in A tier that I think probably favor the other civ. Like Celts as well, probably... Actually, I'd probably pick Khmer over Celts. It's a real difficult one. Japanese against Khmer, I would prefer Japanese, I think. So, again, there's a lot of potential with Khmer. They have Arbalest now, which helps a lot for their transition to Imperial Age, which was their biggest weakness. Their farming is redonkulous right now. Probably gonna be nerfed, I would assume, in the future. Again, you could make an argument maybe for S tier, as I've said with pretty much every civ in the A tier. But I think they belong in the A tier. Still some things missing for them, like elephants are expensive, their unique unit isn't great. They do have very good siege though, and you have halberdiers, skirmishers, arbalest, hussar for late game, so very good. The farming bonus is insane. The instant drop off food, so again, could make a case for S tier, but let's keep him on A tier for now. Koreans! Koreans is a tough one right now. I feel like they are underrated in many regards. I think they have... Obviously now they changed a little bit where units costing wood, military units costing wood are cheaper. That applies for water as well. Obviously it doesn't have much of an impact for our Arabia list. But either way, I think Koreans is a civ that belongs in the C tier, our first C tier civ. And there is potential with getting to war wagons, where war wagons actually feel super powerful these days. But there's just too much lacking otherwise. Also, transition to imp is a bit slow, you don't have that much mobility. Most likely your composition will be halbs, skirm, war wagons maybe, onagers maybe, towers? You do get hussar actually with Koreans, but not with the best upgrades, so... I think Koreans is a C tier civ, unfortunately. Again, I'm gonna go over the whole list at the end and see if I would like to change anything, but for now I think we're satisfied with where we are at. Lithuanians! This is a tough one as well. They are a decent civilization. The relic bonus applying to cavalry obviously helps. I mean, Night Lane anyway. And the Lightis. They have faster moving skirms and spearmen, but still severely lacking upgrades there. Well, not upgrades necessarily, but... I just feel like they don't even have great siege, right? And the unique unit isn't great at the moment, it's too expensive. I think Lithuanians belong in the C tier. Decent civ, the 150 extra food at the start is okay, but I feel like transitionally between the ages, they probably do a decent job in feudal age, castle age, but transition to imp, I think they struggle. Honestly, I haven't played too much with Lithuanians 1-1 to actually have a really firm opinion on it, but my gut feeling tells me that they belong in the C tier right now. Magyars, the clone of the Huns. Again, post-Imperial Age, Magyars might honestly be top, like really far up on the list, because they have the Magyar Hussar that don't cost gold. Obviously, you can make them from have to make them from castles, so it's not great. Besides that, you have halberdiers, you have skirms, maybe the best cow archers in the game. You have Hussar. You could go Paladin if you want to, but yeah, like post-Imperial when gold is run out, Magyars might be one of the best civs in the game. And for 1-1, gold is a thing that is likely to run out. So those types of civs usually fare very well as the game goes on. Cheaper scouts, you have +1 the attack upgrades in the blacksmith for melee units for free. I think Magyars probably belong in the B tier. Again, this is for Arabia only, so I think that's where we're gonna keep them. Ooh, Malay. Malay is one of those tricky ones, right? There's so much potential with them with their faster uptime. They probably belong in A or B tier. Yeah, the faster castle age, faster feudal age, faster imp. I think it's 80% faster, 66% faster. Actually, I don't remember. But they have a very easy way to play where you pretty much halberdier, arbalest, skirm, bomber cannon, whatnot. And then, of course, you have the two-handed swordman spam potential at the end where you can make 200 swordsmen not costing gold, which is actually insane. So probably have to place them in the A tier. There's just so much potential in the civilization that I would see it beating all these civs in the B tier. And probably even terms with A tier civs. So they belong in A tier. Marlins. This is a civ I would easily put in A tier. S tier, sorry. A while back. They have been nerfed a bit since then, but there's still so much going for them. The reason why I have to drop them down to A tier is simply because their transition to Imperial Age. In Feudal Age, in Dark Age, in Castle Age, they are great. They have such a versatile tech tree. They have pretty much every tech you want for those ages, and every access to every single unit you would like in those ages as well. The unique unit, the Gebetto, isn't great, but it's very situational and can contribute, but probably not. But where they fall short is the transition to Imperial Age. They just struggle. They don't have Bracer, similar to Cumans, and without those range units in Imperial Age, it becomes really hard. You do have champions with 8 pierce armor, but that's also fairly easy to counter in general, and it's simply the transitional period there. Early imp is very awkward for Malians, and as the game goes on, sure, you have decent raiding units like Cav with very good attack with Farimba, but yeah, again, like I said, it's just that lack of Bracer that really hurts them transitionally to imp, and therefore I think they do belong in the A tier instead of the S tier. We don't have too many civs left here. We have Mayans coming up now. Mayans. Probably an S tier civ. This day and age, I would even maybe say Mayans should go to A tier. Plumes have become quite expensive now, and as Hera famously said, plumes are trash. Which they probably aren't, but still. Mayans obviously have an amazing economy, but I honestly don't know if I can justify putting them on S tier at the moment. Their plumes are more expensive, they still have great crossbow play, arbalest play. They don't have cavalry, obviously, as a meso-civ. So question then remains, can they compete with the top of the bunch? Actually, I think I have to drop them in S tier. They're still such a powerful civ with their economy, and so smooth and easy to play. The resources last longer. And of course you have the Eldorado Eagle, potential and imp. Halberdier, plumes, arbalest is a great composition to play for late game as well. You have siege ram, and again the resources just lasting longer. Your army is usually maybe even the most cost-effective army for Imperial Age. So I think mines probably belong in the S tier here, and I'm comfortable saying they should be there. Mongols is a very interesting civ, in my opinion. I have thought for the longest time Mongols are overrated in 1v1 Arabia. The goal for Mongols is probably to get to Magyars, right? But Magyars are an expensive unit, they need castles to be produced, and it's not a unit that kicks in early in the transitions. I think Mongols belong in B tier. Probably a lot of you will disagree with me and think they should be in A tier. But I've always felt like Mongols are overrated. Sure, they have the early initial spike with the faster hunt, where they can get the really fast feudal age time, fast scouts play, etc. But transitionally, Castle Age, they're not better than other civs, they're the same. And then the transition to imp is awkward. You don't have Halberdier, you probably want to play Hussar Mangudai ideally, but you need castles for Mangudai. You could play Arbalest, which I think is very underrated. I think a lot of people should play Arbalest with Mongols instead of try to transition to Mangudai. But regardless, your end goal is going to be Mangudai, and that takes forever to get to. But of course, if you get to Mangudai, Elite Mangudai, full upgrades with Siege Ram, Hussar, you are most of the times in a great spot, but still, it's not a cost-effective army for the long run. So unless you have those 5 juicy relics, the Mangudai army might not trade well enough as the game goes on, and again, I just feel like they lack that little bit of extra in the early transition to imp, where I could feel comfortable putting them in A tier. Now you might think, Mongols Marlins? Mongols probably should beat Marlins, but I still think Marlins just overwhelmed them before Imperial Age. That doesn't really get to that. But of course, this is my opinion. A lot of you might think Mongols should be A tier. I don't. Here we are. That's the reality of the situation. Persians! Persians, I'm going to drop them straight up to S tier. They have seen such an increase in their power spike since the recent balance changes, where they now have the trash bow, where you can make crossbows without costing gold. Of course, you don't have bracer, but you have still chemistry, so you have 5+3 attack, and that's a unit that fires pretty fast. You have thumb ring, of course. So it's just like if you're playing like a trash war, usually there's like halberdiers, hussar, skirms. If you can mix in crossbows that do deal way more damage against halberdiers, hussar, etc., that's such a big difference. And Persian, besides that, obviously you have great economy, TCs and dogs working faster. Your economy will always be great. You have great cavalry with bonus against archers. You have halberdiers, you have great siege as well. It's just so many things going for it, and don't forget elite war elephants. This civ is arguably the best civ in the game right now for hybrid maps. Actually, I'm confident saying that it's the best civ for hybrid maps, and you could maybe argue that it's the best civ in the game with the Chinese right now. Portuguese, oh my lovely Orion guns. Where do I place you? Yeah. I feel bad about it, but okay, C tier it is. Portuguese, they don't have a great economy. Their gold units are cheaper. Obviously, Portuguese is geared a little bit towards the water, so obviously they're not the greatest civ for land maps. Also, I found out recently that Orion guns now, their damage output has been changed to missile instead of what used to be something else. YouTube comments, help me out here. I don't remember the details there, but that makes Orion guns slightly worse. And I used to love playing the Orion gun composition with halberdiers, Orion guns, bomber cannons. And when you think about it, Portuguese they have good, decent cavalry. You have arbalest, cheaper, that cost less gold. You have halberdiers, you have bomber cannons with ballistics, hand cannons with ballistics. There's a lot of potential there. But I still feel like their economy just is lackluster, and just transitional periods aren't the greatest. Once you get to post-imperial as well, you don't have siege ram, and the Orion guns aren't what they used to be. I feel like Portuguese probably belong in the C tier. Sorry. And we have Saracens here. That's also a very, very interesting civ. Tato would probably put them on S tier, but I feel like we're gonna have to go down a little bit on the list here. Saracens, that's one of the civs that there's a lot of potential for. They can do a really nice market abuse and get some really nice power spikes. But I feel like for 1v1, when you transition to Imp, you don't have halberdiers, you cannot really go Mamelukes because it's so expensive. So you're probably stuck with like an arbalest hussar composition and skirms. So I'm afraid once you hit Imperial Age, the Saracens fall off a lot in their power. But until then, they do decent. Again, you could do some market abuse and get away with it, and do like they could be a real dangerous civ to play against. But they're heavily relying on that market abuse, where I don't feel like they can compete against the other civs without that. So, and again, the transition to Imperial Age is just rough on the Saracens. So there we are. This video is already 40 minutes long. Holy cow, I'm talking way too long about it. I'm sorry guys, this video is becoming way too long. But hopefully you guys still appreciate some of the insight and all that stuff. I'm going to try to speed it up a little bit. Slavs used to be S tier civ, probably now an A tier civ. Because, again, they have such a good economy. But actually they might even be... No, they have to be A tier. That farming eco is just too strong. It makes their cavalry play, scouts opening, man-arms opening. You have free supplies. There's so much potential with the civ. Again, I've probably used the word potential a lot. But okay, there's a lot of potential in this game, so what can I do about it? Don't judge. They aren't great when it comes to range units, but they're similar to Celts in many ways, just with better farms and probably more emphasis on cavalry play. But you have cheaper siege, you have halberdiers, and that transition there in Imp with supplies, also Drashina potential for champions. Slavs are a great civ still. You will fall against civs that have really good range units probably, but still the farm bonus makes your cavalry, and you can get to fuel age to castle age to Imp so much faster as well because of the farming. So the Slav is still a very good civilization. Now let's talk about Spanish. If I'm Vivi, I put them up here. I'm not Vivi. I don't put them there either. Probably a B tier civ for one on Arabia, potentially a C tier. No, actually, thinking more about it, Spanish used to rely all on conquistadors. They still rely heavily on conquistadors, but conquistadors now count as cav archers, so they're kind of hard counted by skirms right now. Where Spanish shine though is in post-imperial age. Again, your blacksmith upgrades, I say again, I haven't said it before. Their blacksmith upgrades don't cost gold, so you can do all that stuff for free. You have a full blacksmith available to you as well, so you have great trash units, maybe even the best trash units in the game. Fully upgraded Hussar, fully upgraded Helps, fully upgraded Skirms. You have Siege Ram, and then there's potential for Conquistadors as well. Of course, they struggle a bit in the early ages. They also don't have crossbows, just like the Bulgarians. But again, if you get to post-imperial age, but maybe with a couple of relics, you have Inquisition monks as well. Now, great monastery actually, to be honest. I haven't really talked much about the monastery. Usually the monastery doesn't come too much into play in Arabia, so that's probably why. But yeah, Spanish, if you get to post-imp, it's a great civ. Until then, you're kind of holding on, trying to get there. Maybe snowballing with conquistadors, mangonels, etc. But yeah, Spanish, decent civ. Tatars, now that's a really interesting one now. If we're purely judging on counters to elephants, they're S tier with their beautiful flaming camels. But I don't think so. Tatars now have free thumb ring, which is pretty insane. They still have the longer lasting herdables, so sheep, cow, etc. last longer. They have the best step lancers in the game, probably. I still feel like they probably belong in C tier. Their halberdiers aren't impressive. They don't have the last armor upgrade. It feels so weird. Tatars feel like, if I look at the tech tree of Tatars, I feel like they should be decent. But somehow when you play them, you just feel like there's something missing. That's probably the consistent good unit throughout all ages. Probably Cow Archers is the go-to unit there, as you get the Castle Age and so on. Tatars probably could be made a case for B tier after the recent changes in particular. Keshik is actually a really good unit, so can't rule them out too much. Again, you have the hill advantage bonus as well, where you can get extra damage if you have the hill. I honestly feel like probably you could place Tatars in B tier right now. But if there was like a B minus, a C plus, probably that's where they belong. But honestly, I think I'm going to place them in B tier. I think that's where they belong. They're not that bad anymore. Teutons. A lot of you probably will drop them right there. But I have to say, I still think Teutons are very underrated. The reason I don't like Teutons is because their playstyle is boring. They're very slow save rely, they don't have that much mobility, don't even have husbandry for the knights. But economy-wise, they're great. They have farms costing 36 wood, which is actually a lot of wood saved over the course of the game. But yeah, the issue comes to their compositions. They also don't have bracers, so their skirms are bad, range units are bad, you don't have thumb ring. We do have the Teutonic Knight though, so that's pretty nice. But yeah, great monastery, but not that important. They have Siege Challenger, no Siege Ram though, so it feels bad. Castles with 13 range potentially, but that's also very expensive. Recently they did get extra melee armor though for their infantry, so I think Teutons, similar to Tatars, is a civ that feels like it could be both B and C tier, but I definitely would not put them with D tier. I think there's potential still with Teutons, and they should probably stay in the C tier. We don't have too many civs left. We have 3 civs left here, as the video approaches 45 minutes. Holy cow, I'm sorry for that, guys. Turks. This is another civ we're probably looking at C and D tier. So recent Turks are very awkward to play in 1-1 Arabia. Their trash units, infantry and range units, are terrible. You don't have elite skirm, you don't have even pikemen, so that type of like Imperial Age play is really awkward for you. However, you do have something nice going for you. Your Cow Archers are really good with the Sipahi something upgrade. You do have some real powerful gunpowder, 14 range bomber cannons. You have great best bomber towers in the game, but then again, bomber towers don't really happen often in 1-1 Arabia unless you're in Biel. Of course, you get Hussar for free. Nice. But then again, what's your composition in Imp? You have Siege Ram, great. But how do you play against Siege Ram Halberdier? If you face Celts, who goes Siege Ram Halberdiers, you literally have no answer. I think Turks probably join Goth in the D tier for One Arabia. Again, I think there is potential there. Famous word, potential, you know. Gold mining upgrade, not upgrade. You have faster gold mining, helps for archer play, cav archer play. But still, I just feel like as you hit that Imperial Age and transitions to post-imp, sure, there will be circumstances where you shine, but you're going to struggle a lot with the transition to post-Imperial in particular. Turks, I'm sorry, boys, but you guys belong in the D tier. This is another interesting one, Vietnamese. I have been a big fan of Vietnamese. Well, not big fan, that's the wrong word. I've been a fan of Vietnamese even before they got the recent buffs. But recently, especially on a map like Arena, where you go fast castle, and you want to combine military with booming, Vietnamese are really, really powerful. If this was Arena, honestly, I would not hesitate dropping them in S tier even. But this isn't Arena, this is 1-1 Arabia. I feel like they're definitely not C and D tier anymore. Now they're probably A and B tier. That the buff they've got recently helps a lot. But still, looking at it, probably if you run up against civs like Khmer, Malay, Huns, Franks, etc. Actually, if Vietnamese against Franks, where you can play Halberdier, Arbalest, probably you're not feeling too bad about it. But I still feel like you're lacking husbandry. You don't have the greatest cavalry. Rat Notch is a great unit. Your economy is going to be great now. Honestly, probably you could make a case for B tier. Do they belong in B tier right now? I'm kind of figuring out myself now. Do I think so? Actually, I feel like Vietnamese might be an A tier civ now. I'm going to drop them in B tier for the time being. Else I'm going to sit here for 5 minutes, pulling it back and forth, and not agreeing with myself. So, last civ we have available to us right now is the Aztecs. Aztecs, immediate straight drop up to the S tier. They've been probably the best Arabia civ for 10 years until the recent changes. They just have such a great economy. Their drush is so powerful. Their man-arms opening is so powerful. Transitions to range units. You're usually up to castle age before everyone because your farming is just faster and stronger. Whenever you play with Aztecs, you just feel powerful. That's the easiest way to put it. Your eco is great, your military production is faster, you have great transitions all over the board. You can switch to barracks, full eagle playing castle age, Imperial Age as well. Even in post-Imperial Age, you have Atlatl Skirms, which is a great trash unit. And you have Bracer. Like there's just so many things going for Aztecs, especially in a 1-1 situation where their power shines in particular. So we have actually placed all our civilizations right now. How do I feel about this? This is our final. Well, I say final list. This video is 15 minutes long. Well, like I said, it kind of probably feels like a podcasty type of approach. I hope you guys don't mind that. But yeah, this is pretty much trying to maximize the size here a little bit, just so you guys can see this in all its glory. Alright, sorry, professional editing going on right here. This is my list right now. Do I agree with this? I'm gonna do like a quick overview now and see if there's any civs I would probably place differently. What I think is great about the game right now and the balance right now is that the fact that for 1-1 Arabia, which is the most common map in Age of Empires, always has been, we have so many good civs. You can see I have 14 civilizations that are in S and A tier. That gives you so many options to play once the competitive matches happen, right? And I also think that is right now, balance-wise, I think we're the healthiest we have ever been in Age of Empires, where there are, for every single map, there's going to be so many options to choose from. Of course, there will still be the odd map here and there where there is one dominant civ, but all in all, I think I think the game's balance right now is the best it has ever been, and I love playing the game because of how much variety there is. And honestly, I don't know. I'm just really happy with the balance of the game right now, and yeah, I'm still looking like I'm thinking maybe Vietnamese there to be tier. I feel like that's the potentially only change I would make right now. Again, we have. I pretty much told you everything I have to say anyway regarding the Civs and like who I feel could be this tier and that tier as well. But yeah, I'm looking at the list right now, and I think I'm satisfied. I think this is what I would say. Again, this is not in a particular order. Like probably Aztecs would be second best Arabia Civ. Persians, like this is no particular order. This is just a tier, obviously. So yeah. So yeah, this video became way too long compared to what I anticipated. I thought this would be like a 25-minute video. I was wrong. It was more than twice of that. So yeah, really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know if you guys want me to make more of these, and in that case, what map, maybe hybrid maps, etc. And we'll take that into consideration. I'm reading all the YouTube comments, guys, pretty much. There's not a single YouTube comment I've missed. I just don't obviously have time to answer all of them. But yeah, I'm thinking about doing the same thing Hera did with the unique units. Maybe list them in a tier, make a tier list of them. And of course we could do like maybe the best water civs, maybe the best hybrid civs, and all that stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna end it now before this video passes an hour. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and let me know if there's anything you would have changed. Again, this is just Google tier maker Age of Empires, and you will find this yourself if you want to make your own list. And yeah, that's pretty much it from me. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I will see you guys in the very next video.